Yeah, thank you so much, Derek, for taking the time. We have Robbie Highlander now on the podcast. How about
I'm
that?
Robbie. I'm
Yes,
Robbie.
baby. And thank you for taking the time to join us here in Vancouver, Canada. But I guess a big thanks to your brother Chris Calhoun for the introduction. He goes, a couple 2-3 days after we talked, and he and I knew each other working in radio and stuff right over the years. A couple 2-3 days after I released the podcast, he goes, "Hey, by the way, my brother used to wrestle in the WWE." I'm like, fuck off, dude. Seriously?
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, I could see if he wants to be a guest." So thanks,
Yeah, I
Chris.
haven't. I've not done a lot of podcasts, but I just started doing one. And last week I did one with Jeff Jarrett,
Oh yeah. How'd that go?
which was really good because he was the guy that showed me at TNA television when I got fired from WWE.
Right. Right.
But it was a pretty good podcast. I thought it was almost an hour long, but
Oh wow.
I think I've only done two other ones so far. So
Oh wow.
yeah.
Do you ever listen to podcasts, or is this kind of just new to
Um,
you? Or
I Here's the thing. I've been so busy with another career that I've not really had time for anything for myself, really. So
right.
now I'm just in transformation and hitting life reset. So I could probably see myself listening to podcasts while I'm driving down the road doing something.
Nice,
So,
nice. So what was it about wrestling? What was the allure for you? Like, what was it that grabbed you? And how old were you when you were like, okay,
I
maybe
was
I will do this?
I was suckered in pretty early. I want to say, I would say somewhere in that seven or eight, uh, with my friends watching it on Saturday morning, and as soon as the show stopped at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we were downstairs in his basement with all the mattresses on the floor, and we were going to town wrestling. So.
Right. So what was that? Are you going back to the WWF
Oh yeah, we're going
or
back
like
to
Stampede
WWF.
Wrestling? Like, what was it?
Well, I know back then. I want to say I watched Pacific Northwest Wrestling, which would have been out of Seattle. I want to say
That's right.
Vancouver area. I did watch some Stampede, some AWA, and some WWE. Well, I guess back then, I kind of more or less known it as Maple Leaf Wrestling.
Oh
They
wow, yeah.
Maple Leaf Wrestling either brought NWA or Vince McMahon Senior stuff to. They kind of put them all on the same card, and that's what Maple Leaf Wrestling was. And then obviously Jack Tunney evolved from Maple Leaf Wrestling, and that's where WWF came about. And Jack Tunney was the president in the '80s, and all that good stuff. So.
Yeah, do you remember when you were a kid when they switched over from the WWF because the Wildlife Fund or whatever it was had an issue with them using it, and then so
That
they had
was,
to change names?
I want to say that would be right. That was in the mid to late '90s.
Was it that
They
late?
had to
No, it
change.
couldn't have been that late. Maybe 80s.
Was it?
Yeah,
Because
certainly not the 90s.
I want to say because the Attitude Area was still called WWF
Oh,
because WWE I want to say came in. I want to say around '97 or '98.
okay, okay.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
you're
not.
right.
I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say the Attitude Era was still WWF because as soon as 24/7 or whatever came on, they started blacking out all the turnbuckles.
Right, right.
Yeah. So that was a big thing for Vince McMahon. That was a hell of a battle he had.
Yeah. And what is your first memory of wrestling?
Well, my first memory of wrestling, I would have, you know, just off the top of my head, I would have to say something like the British Bulldogs against the Moondogs.
Nice. They were totally one of my favorites. The British Bulldogs, Dynamite Kid, Davey Boy
they
Smith.
they were great. Even the Hart Foundation.
Yeah.
Um,
Bret Hart's been a guest
just
of this
say,
podcast.
going back, Killer Bees.
Yeah.
So we're talking, I want to say we're talking 84, 85. And then there's even earlier because, I watched every kind of wrestling there was before, WWF got mainstream. And I want to say early 90s, they kind of took everything over. And
Yeah.
and the rest is history, really.
Yeah. And so
But now they have competition, which is nice.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's the thing. Like AEW and like all of nothing. There's nothing but good things will come from competition. Nothing is good about a monopoly in anything.
It actually makes the product shit, I would say.
Totally.
Because now all of a sudden, AEW. I don't watch much wrestling, but I want to say AEW is on Wednesday nights, and then all of a sudden, okay, now we have a little bit of a war because NXT is going to go up against AEW.
That's right.
And to be honest with you, NXT can't even touch AEW. I don't think.
Well, not right now.
Not yet.
Not yet. But I mean, maybe.
You never know. But that's what makes wrestling good when there's competition.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah. So who were the ones that you were kind of like idolizing and stuff as a kid? Was it beyond the British Bulldog? Were you into Hogan? Was it like Andre the Giant or Macho Man?
I like the bad guys. I love the Macho Man. I like Piper. I really like the bad guys because Hogan was just too good, goody two shoes for me. But maybe if he was around today, I'm more of a goody two shoes now than I was back then. That he might have been my favorite, but
it was even Hogan's like theme song too, right? Like I'm a real American, like
Well, we're Canadian, so
totally. Can't vibe with that. I have no idea.
No, I can't vibe. It's hard to vibe. But I liked even going way back. I like watching I always wanted to see the underdog win, but they never did. Back when we watched it when we were kids, there was a lot of squash matches. Where it's just maybe the guy got one punch in and maybe a hip toss and that's it.
Yeah. I was the same. Always like the underdog for sure.
Yeah.
What was the worst you ever got hurt in wrestling?
I would say the worst I ever was hurt was probably in my second match. I got up off the canvas and the guy was picking me up and all of a sudden my knee just kind of popped, and I thought that was right at the beginning of my career, and I thought I was done, but I just kind of worked through it the whole time, and I had a bad knee through. Well, it wasn't that bad, but I made sure I did my best with it and kept protected, and I had it my whole career with a bad knee.
Wow, really?
I still got it. Oh yeah, the whole career. And I want to say maybe 2.5 years into WWE, I might have tweaked it, and it was bothering me for a bit. But being in a tag team, you can get by those things.
Yeah, true, right? Yeah, and that's the art of wrestling. Like sure, the outcome of the match, but there's something about not hurting the people that you're wrestling. Like that's an art in itself.
My injury actually came from my foot sticking in the mat and my knee going the opposite way. It wasn't really anything. It wasn't really anyone that hurt me specifically. It was just, And then, after that, I climbed up to the second rope and it buckled again. It actually made like this, like a pong. I was like, ooh. And I jumped off. We finished the match, and I think I took a couple weeks off, and then we went back at it.
Wow. Did you tell Buddy, hey, like easy on me? I think I just fucked my knee.
Yeah. I told the referee to tell him, but we were right at the end of the match, so it was pretty good. Yeah. But I thought the worst. I was never gonna have a career. I want to say when I started practicing again, I did a leapfrog, kind of tweaked it a little, but didn't do that bad. And then I didn't do leapfrogs for a long time.
Yeah. Who was it that was always doing the leaping Lanny Poffo?
Yeah,
Remember that guy?
yeah, yeah. Leaping Lanny. That's Macho Man's brother.
Yeah.
He just retired and moved to Ecuador.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I guess Ecuador is a place to live with. Is a good place to live where your money can last a long ways.
Hell yeah, that's a long career, man. If he's just
Mm-hmm.
retiring now, wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Could you pick a career highlight? Can you nail it down to like one thing or one moment or one match or?
I would say, um, I think my most highlighted match. It wouldn't be Rory's most highlighted match, but it's just it's special to me. It was a match in Cape or Durban, South Africa.
Oh wow.
That wasn't supposed to happen, but we ended up going out and being the main event on a WWF house show in Durban, South Africa. And I'll tell you a little about the story. We actually wrestled Dave Taylor and Paul Burchill. So they're English guys, we're Scottish guys.
Yeah.
South Africa, a little different story, but South Africans don't like the English, so they're going to vote for the Scottish.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but what happened was the night before in Cape Town, South Africa, me and Dave Taylor went out and got just annihilated. We drank a pile, and the next day we flew. We almost didn't make the plane, but we got flown over to Durban, and it was going to rain that night, and the promoter didn't buy insurance, rain insurance, and they needed to get a 90-minute show out in order to not give money back. So that it looked like it was going to rain. It was a 30,000 seat tennis stadium, and it had spit a little, and then Ricky Steamboat, the agent, came up and said, "Hey, we're going to cancel your match." And me and Dave Taylor are like, "Oh, this is great because we're so hungover."
Don't want to do it anyway.
And then lo and behold, John Cena's match went out, and the I guess the heavens opened, and there was no rain. The rain disappeared, and Ricky Steamboat came up and said, "Hey guys, get your gear on. We want you to go out do 20, 25 minutes on the main event."
Wow.
And then we went out and we tore the house down.
Awesome.
We literally tore the house down and I know we tore the house down because when I got in the bus after, John Cena was there congratulating me with a beer because he knew I love beer, and he was there to congratulate, and it was quite something.
Just sweating the booze out from the night before.
Oh yeah, yeah. But it was
Big time.
we went out there, we called it all in the ring, we had a finish that we knew, and the place was crazy. It was unbelievable to me, I thought.
Nice.
Yeah.
But do you get into the actual MMA fights like Bellator and UFC and all that?
I've watched a bit, but I don't like I say, I've been so busy in another career that I was busy in my other career, my second career, because I didn't have nothing after my first one. So over my life, the last career was basically head down, make money, and set myself up for retirement, which I'm pretty much there now. So that's why I'm going to hit life reset and do something
Nice.
else, and now I can live for me again. So it's I never really had time to partake in a lot of different things. My careers have always been something I get into. I really like doing, but over time it wears you down. But I still wrestle here and there, which is great. I would like to do it a little more. I want to reach out to England and maybe get over there for a few months, and do some more before I'm 50.
Yeah.
Because I'm 48 now, and
Okay, I'm 47. You got me by a year. Yeah.
I'm in pretty decent shape. I'm actually I got 8 abs. I got everything. I got no fat.
Wow.
And
Disciplined.
I'm ready. I've I quit drinking. I quit drinking in March. I wasn't really going to quit. But but drinking's got me into some trouble here and there. WWE per se, some other dumb things I've done. So over COVID, I started to drink a lot, and I was drinking a lot by myself. And all of a sudden, when I stopped drinking, I started to think a little clearly, and I'm basically wearing myself down at some of the things I do, and I'm not taking time for myself, even though I've been writing music and stuff while I'm on the road working and stuff, but I'm really not. I need to spend a little more time for myself and actually sit down and maybe take 5 or 6 days to work on that one song, to go record it, and stuff like that. I never had the time, and I've set myself up financially. I just sold my house, and now I'm going to go on vacation, and everybody's, what are you going to do? Well, right now I'm living day to day. So I sold my house with everything in it. So
Nice.
I like painting and decorating. I staged my place. I think it's pretty badass. And the people that came in, offered me way more money for the house, with everything in it, and that's how I wanted them to buy everything, because I put my heart into it, and it's like work too. That might be something that I'll do so I can play my guitar more and stuff like that. So and I can go back and wrestle a little more too.
Yeah, that's cool.
The wrestling part for a career and stuff, that's something I really, really love. Like sales and working for someone else isn't something I really, really love, but you got to do stuff. You got to get on the horse and make sure your life's good. And you got to do what you got to do to survive.
Yeah, no, I hear that. So what's the new career then? Is music, or what's the new career?
I don't really have a new career. I'm just playing it day by day. I got an agent for acting. I write music. I do have an idea that I want to do my road trip with Robbie. I did the stuff on Facebook with these little 1-minute clips, but I would actually like to film maybe 13 episodes and maybe pitch it to some television stations. It'd be educational, but it'd be my character Robbie and learning educational things, like just say, for instance, I go to Signal Hill in Newfoundland. Could be the first episode, because that's the very first part of Canada, and explain how they had the very first transatlantic telegraph and stuff like that, and just explain enough where it'll be fun enough where people would actually get in and learn more about it. And then maybe, one day at Alexander Graham Bell's house in Brantford, or, you know what I mean? Just something cool Canadian. And I know I'm supposed to be Scottish, but Scottish Canadians, it all ties together.
Yeah, that's cool. So I know that you guys grew up in a house that had a lot of music in the house, and clearly you've still moved forward with that present day, making music and stuff. So what's the music in your house as a kid then, growing up?
Well, I always liked metal, and to be honest with you, my brother Chris is the musician. I couldn't play anything. I just started playing over the last bunch of years. Over the last 2 years, I really taught myself. I picked up a guitar in 2013 and played it for about 5 to 10 hours a year up into 18. And then I don't really know anyone else's music. I just create whatever I make, and then I start adding my own words to it. And so the one song I really need to work on, it's called On to the Next Show. It's basically a 3-verse song that talks about my first career, my second career. I'm moving on to bigger and better things, and hopefully my next life, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
So what was your first concert?
My first concert was my 12th birthday, and it was Iron Maiden Summer in Time tour.
Yes. Dude, those guys are still pumping it out, man. They've got a fucking double album. They have a double album out.
I can't believe they still rock and roll and do it. And I'm so disappointed because my sister was taking me to Megadeth tomorrow night, and she got a message saying the concert's canceled or
Oh
whatever.
no.
Yeah, so I was really disappointed because I kind of hit the wall with my career and kind of off on a little bit of a mental break, and I really needed a concert. I really
Yeah,
did.
man.
I just,
Something
it's
about
been
a
so
concert.
long. It's
Yeah.
been so long, and I got double vaccinated just for a concert.
Yeah, right. Exactly right. Just for a concert, be able to go to, like a restaurant or something. Funny thing, my buddy Brent Donnelly is doing the back of house, running that Megadeth tour. I
Oh
wonder why
yeah,
that, yeah, I wonder why that got canceled.
yeah. I'm not sure. They said keep your tickets. We're gonna come back.
Yeah, no, definitely for sure. Let,
So
let me let me hit you with one that's always a tricky one to answer. This will actually give us a really good idea of what you're all about music wise. You're
all
on a
right.
deserted island. Which 3 albums do you need?
Ooh, can they be a greatest hits?
Sure.
I would need Iron Maiden's greatest hits, Black Sabbath's greatest hits, and you know what? I'd have to have Pantera, Far Beyond Driven.
Yes,
I
dude, that
mean,
album.
I gotta have my real heavy, so that we'd have to throw some Pantera in there.
Yeah, do you remember the first time you heard that record and just how mind blown you were?
Well,
Like,
it was funny because I heard Cowboys from Hell came up. Well, they had 3 or 4 albums before Cowboys from Hell, and they were real cheesy. They're cheesy,
yeah, they were like almost glitzy glam rock.
yeah, glam rock. And when Cowboys from Hell came out, it was like that was like a punch in your face.
Totally.
And then it be
Because there was also like fucking Primal Concrete Sludge on that record, like
yeah,
way heavier than the shit they'd done before, right?
yeah. So that was a real punch in your face, and that was really kick ass. And then I guess next was Vulgar Display of
Vulgar
Power,
Display, yeah, after that.
and then Far Beyond Driven next. But
Yeah.
Vulgar Display of Power was like, man, they got heavier. It was
Oh
like,
yeah.
wow, that's. And then Far Beyond Driven, it got a little dark, but I believe it's probably Phil Anselmo figured out who he really is, and he started to let go who he really is. You know what I mean? I
Wanted to want to show you these.
Oh, nice. Don't
So
tell me that. Don't tell
these
me.
these are Vinnie Paul's.
Vinnie Paul's.
These when Vinnie Paul passed away, a really good friend of mine, and also a very good friend of Vinny's. This guy locally is a drummer for Biff Naked, a guy named Chico. So Chico goes down to Vegas where his room and his studio and stuff were set up, and these drumsticks were on the snare of Vinnie Paul's drum kit, and I got them.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
like crazy. I'm a
Yeah,
huge fan of Pantera.
that is awesome. I do have an Iron Maiden drumstick.
No, do you really?
Yes, I do. I got one of those. I just remember being in like the 6th row, and there it came. I was like, "That's mine!" And I fell to the floor, and everybody piled on top of me.
It's like mine. Nah,
I already
not
had it in
getting
my
that.
pants. I'm like, Iron Maiden.
Yeah. Maiden or Sabbath?
What do you mean?
Like, who do you pick?
You know what? I want to say Maiden was my first growing up, but when it all comes down, it has to be Sabbath with Ozzy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a dog.
Kind of
It doesn't
untouchable,
matter.
really.
I can listen to that music over and over and over again. It doesn't matter. And sometimes I have to put the Maiden away.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
I just for some reason Ozzy with Black Sabbath is just and I've been fortunate enough to see him twice with
Nice.
with Ozzy and Sabbath, and I did see him with Pantera once too.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow.
Ozzy and Sad with Pantera.
Wow. I once drove from the Okanagan. I lived in Summerland. I
Beautiful
drove
spot.
down after my shift at like 4 p.m, got to Vancouver, saw the Skid Row Pantera show, get fucking obliterated, of course.
Of course.
Drove right back. I'm not obliterated to the point of like,
yeah,
cry,
sure.
but like, yeah. And, it's like winter conditions and shit.
We were younger then.
We were stupid and young back then. Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Hey, are you a gambler?
Not too much.
I gotta what do you do when you're gambling? What's your thing?
I like to just play straight up some poker.
Yeah.
Simple poker.
Yeah.
I don't really gamble much. The only gambling I do is I like my gambles are like, ones that you're really gonna win. like
yes,
like
don't we all wish we knew that?
Property and making money on it. Like
yeah.
This house, it was a gamble because I moved in. I bought the house and the girl I moved in with was a crazy psycho, and that was a gamble. But in the end, that girl has, to this day, she still floats about in my world sometimes and tries to. I don't know. She got removed from my place years ago, and I had a peace bond against her and all that. But she's been. Wow. She was following me the other day, but I sold a house, so I could only imagine it's about the dollars and since I've not been around her, I've made a lot of money.
Wow.
But she was, it's good. I'll probably write a song about her being the polisher. She only knows how to polish. She'll never ever get it herself.
It sounds like that'll be a heavy riff. All right, Derek, I'm gonna wrap it up. Sure. One more question here, and then thank you again for taking some time here.
Hey, no problem.
Share a near-death story with us, like a time in your life where you're like, "Holy crap, man! I could have and should have maybe died there."
Well, I've never really had a near-death experience, but there's been a time in my life in about 2012 where I didn't want to live. So that's about my near-death experience. I never did act upon it, but at that time I was still married and I had someone at home to talk to and ended up getting through. It was just a tough time where you're making a transition from being a wrestler and maybe coming back to the real world. And it took about 2 years to really transform back to the real world when I got a real sales job. That's when I kind of stopped wrestling, but over time it was like, I can't stop wrestling. I have to do it. But I think, that I don't really have a near-death experience, but I've had some awful thoughts at sometimes in my life.
Yeah. Well, thankfully there's people around you to pull you out of that shit, right? Oh
yeah. Yeah. And now, like I just said, I just went on a mental break too. And it's not that I'm going to do anything wrong or bad to myself. It's just sometimes you just need a break and you get to think clear when you're away from everything. So,
yeah, no, fair. Awesome. Hey, dude, where's the best place for people to find you on social media? Like, are you on Twitter and Instagram and all that?
I have an Instagram. It's Highlander Robbie. So it's HIGHLANDER ROBBIE. And you can find me on Facebook at Derek Robbie McAllister Coach.
Okay, awesome.
And I have, if people are interested in seeing what I do, I have a bunch of characters on my Facebook, 5 or 6 different ones. I used to do skits. With them, and they're quite entertaining. That's why I want to get into acting. My brother acts.
He does, yeah. Just text me saying he's in. What is he saying? He's in a fucking.
He just got 4 days of our lives.
Days of our lives. That's what it was. Yeah. Like, how awesome is that, man? That's great.
I called him the other night to congratulate him, so he's pretty happy about that.
Yeah, that's deadly. Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, thank you again for taking some time here and joining us. And I guess we'll see you online.
All right. Thanks a lot, Todd.